First, though, tonight, taking a closer look at the case of a man who killed 2 teenagers more than a decade ago, and he's now out from behind bars in a separate case. Dan Levy was at the Saratoga County Courthouse when Dennis Drue and the rest of the community got that news.
Tonight, Dennis Drue is a free man. That is a reality that does not sit well with many in this community.
Well, I think we're totally stunned by the judge's decision.
Mike Stewart was practically in tears when he found out that Dennis Drue, the man who killed his son Christopher just over a decade ago, was being released from jail.
It's come as a total shock. We weren't prepared for this at all.
Dennis Drue, who is now 34, served 9 years in prison after being drunk behind the wheel of his car in December 2012 and then ramming into the rear end of an SUV in which Christopher Stewart and Deanna Rivers were riding, both of them killed, 2 other teens seriously injured.
I'm almost without words to talk about why we are here.
Drue was released from prison in 2023. Earlier this year, he was picked up by Colony Police and wound up being jailed on a parole violation.
I'm very stunned right now.
Drue was in Saratoga County Court Friday afternoon seeking his freedom. Judge Lorraine Diamond said the law was not on her side to keep him locked up any longer.
He got a sweetheart deal originally. He continues to get the sweetheart deals, and just very unfair for the families to go through this.
I think statutorily, like she said, I think her hands were kind of tied. But my problem with the whole proceeding is this is not a first-time offender. This is a 30-time, offender of everything, and it just continues to tip the hand his way. That's what has me aggravated today.
I still do believe in the rule of law. I believe the rule of law has been misinterpreted here.
Even though District Attorney Karen Hagan strongly disagrees with the judge's reasoning, the decision, she says, will not be appealed. In Ballston Spa with coverage you can trust. Dan Levy, News Channel 13.
Dan, thank you. Now, Drue had only been out of prison for 2 years before police say he violated his parole. Then his name returned to the spotlight in March of this year. That's when Drue was arrested again and charged with criminal impersonation. Police say he was in a running car in the Crossings parking colony past park hours and gave an officer a fake name. He was then brought back to jail pending this case. He pleaded not guilty, but the charges were later dropped. At his parole hearing, he did plead guilty to driving after hours without a license and without an ignition interlock device, all of which violated the terms of his parole. Despite this, the judge let him walk free back on parole. So that brings us to today's hearing, where Drue faced either going back to jail or being released. And the judge, as you just heard, ordered that he was released. So let's go back to the initial case as a reminder. On December 1st, 2012, Drue was driving drunk and on drugs before crashing into the back of a vehicle. Inside that car were Shenendehowa High School students Christopher Stewart and Deanna Rivers, both who were killed. 2 other teens in that car were hurt. Drue pleaded guilty to a 58-count indictment for manslaughter and aggravated vehicular homicide. He was sentenced to a maximum of 15 years in prison, and he was released on parole May 25th, 2023, after serving less than 10.